Hi, this is a tutorial on how to use OBS to make tutorials. So we're going to learn some of the features with OBS. OBS is a screen recording software, but also can stream. And we're going to learn about recording to a hard drive a video of us using an application, in this case, Ableton Live, and to do a voiceover microphone so we can talk about maybe what we're doing with Ableton Live. OBS has the ability to take in many sources, and those sources become what we call scenes. A scene is a collection of sources. Sources would be like a capture of an application like Ableton Live, its window. Also, it could be a input from a microphone. We're going to do that. And one of the other things that I just learned how to do was to do multi-channel audio recording. And that allows me to record my external mic to a separate track rather than having it mixed automatically with the Ableton sound. That way I can, in post, balance the level of my microphone track and not worry about having it too loud or too soft. So how do we do that? Well, the first thing we're going to do is look at the settings menu. So here at the bottom of the screen, you can see there's a tab called Settings. I click on that, we can see that we have a bunch of settings here. If we go to audio, we can choose the sample rate and the number of channels. Normally you might have this on stereo, but if you put it on 4 channels, that means it'll actually allow you to record up to 4 channels on an audio source. So if we have that selected, we can do that. We also want to look at the video to make sure we got the video resolution how we want. This is 1080p or HD. We also have the ability to select where the file gets written to. That's the recording path here. You choose Browse. You can choose exactly where you want the file to be written. So right now it's being written to Crucial Drive in a folder called Video, in another folder called OBS, and another folder called Test. So that's where it's getting recorded to. So we're going to create a new scene, and the scene collections are up here. So I've already created a new scene by clicking on New and making a scene called OBS Tutorial. This scene has no sources right now, so I'm going to create a source by clicking on this plus button. And the source in this case is going to be a screen capture of Ableton Live, which is on my other monitor here. So I'm going to type in the word live for Ableton Live. Click OK. We're not seeing Ableton Live because it defaults to a different setting. So right now we're looking at the display that's on the same screen. So I'm going to click on this and choose Application Capture because I want to capture from the application Ableton Live. And that's running on the display that's the Raven. So if I click here and choose Live, now I can see Ableton Live. And the cool thing is that it'll also take in the audio. So if I play Ableton Live, you can see that the meter is moving on Ableton Live. Now let's say that volume's a little too low. We can adjust that as well underneath this setting under Advanced Audio Properties. And I'm just going to boost this up a little bit, maybe 6 dB. And I could type in the number if I wanted to. I could also make it mono. So let's play it again, see how the level looks now. It's a little bit higher, not a lot higher. We'll just stay with that for now. Now I also have a microphone connected that I want to bring in. So I'm going to go to Audio Input Capture. And the name of the microphone is V5. I'm going to call that V5 mic. And then I'm going to say OK. And I'm going to choose where it's coming in. In this case, it's a USB adapter. Now this is where the critical thing happens. We got to make sure that we send the mics only to a specific track. So if I uncheck that Enable Down Mixing, normally it would go to track 1. I'm going to turn that off to none. We go down to track 4 and choose front left because it's just one input. So that's why it's saying front left. Okay, if I click OK, now we see that I have a source down here. You can see it's coming in on track 4. So this is 4 tracks, but I'm only using or getting sound to 1 of the tracks. Alrighty, so and then Ableton's going to be on tracks 1 and 2 over here. So that allows me to record my voice on a separate track than Ableton's tracks. So what I can do now is start the recording, and I'm going to be recording to the hard drive my voice. And if I come down and start Ableton, you can see that the Ableton is coming in as well. I'm just going to record a little bit and then stop Ableton and then stop the recording altogether. Having done that, now I have a file that I can find on my Finder that's under my video folder in OBS under test. And there it is. That's the one I just recorded. So it's a movie, and it contains 4 channels of audio. So the next step, once we've recorded this, we want to bring it into Reaper so that we can separate those files out, those audio tracks, to separate audio channels. I'm opening Reaper. And when I open Reaper, it's going to create a brand new project. There we go. Reaper. Okay. So there's Reaper, and we're going to drop in that file that we just created, the movie file, right into Reaper. And there we go. And you can see that we have a 4-track file, if I zoom in a little bit. So my voice track is down here, and these are the 2 Ableton tracks. And I want to separate these out because there's no way to mix these separately when it's I wouldn't say no way, but it's not easy to mix these when it's a multi-channel file. So Reaper has a way of exploding these files out to separate mono files. And the way you do that is by clicking on the audio here, right-clicking, and going down to Item Processing. If you go over here to the right, you can see there's a selection that says Explode Multi-Channel Audio. So if you click on that, look what happens. Now we got a bunch of extra tracks. And these extra tracks, these are the 2 Ableton tracks, because you can see they start together. That's left and that's right, and this is the voiceover track. The one thing, though, that happens is that it puts it in a folder, and you can tell that by looking at how these are positioned. So this is the original audio and video file, and these are the separate audio files that we want, which means these all get routed through this, a multi-channel output, and we don't want that. We want these to go straight out to the main stereo outputs. So the way we can do that is just simply grab this guy and just drag it up above that track. Now it's no longer indented. See how this is in line with this one? This one's still indented though. So we can do the same with the right channel, move it up here. Now we got left and right not indented, and then we can also grab the voice and do the same thing. So now we have all our tracks that we need. We don't really need this track at all, so we can literally delete that track. And this track we do need because it has a video on it. So we can just turn the volume down because we don't really want to hear this track anymore because we have the other track separated out. So we're going to turn this down on the mixer. And now we have everything separated out. We have the left and right up here, and left and right Ableton tracks up here, and then the voice track here. Because these are now mono files and they're panned to the center, we need to pan the top one to the left and the next one down to the right so we have stereo. And then, of course, the voiceover track is on this fader right here, which we want to be panned to the center probably. One thing you can do in Ableton is to group things, to just select 2 things in the mixer like that by holding down Shift key and select them both, and now they'll move together so you can control the volume of these together. So I'm going to play the sound through the speakers so you can hear it, and you can tell that I have control now over these separate tracks. I'm going to be recording to the So that's my voice track. And if I come to Ableton, And then here's the Ableton tracks. So now I can mix this to a final version, and I can do effects processing on each of these tracks. So like a typical thing I might want to do is add plugins on my voiceover track to add compression and that kind of thing. So I can go up here and just I can drag these over from that other track. Now I have an equalizer that I can use in my voice. And then stop the recording altogether. And I can use a compressor on my voice too, etc., etc. Once you get everything recorded into Reaper, or I should say open in Reaper, and separated out like that, you can also view the movie in Reaper, and you do that just by going up to the view menu up here and choosing video. Now we can see the video that we have made down here. For Ableton, I'm going to unmute it. If it's muted, you can't see it. You can see that Ableton is coming. So now you can do all of the editing in Reaper to finish it up, take out the pauses and that kind of thing. So I hope that's been helpful. If you have any questions, you can always ask me. And thanks for watching.